It's nothing. I'm okay, so Mom, don't worry about anything.
My daughter, her face flushed red, told me this. She is in first grade and attends an after-school program. On days when the after-school program is closed, she is looked after at my in-laws' house, but lately, there's been something odd about her behavior. Every time I pick her up from my in-laws, her face is inexplicably red. When I ask my mother-in-law, she just says, she was absorbed in playing video games, and my daughter also keeps saying, it's nothing. I was concerned about my daughter's behavior and discussed it with my husband as well. Even when my husband casually asked his mother and our daughter, the responses were still the same as when I asked. My husband and I were worried about our daughter, but since she always seems happy when she comes home, we decided to wait and see for a while. However, the worst-case scenario happened.
What? My daughter collapsed.
I was working as usual when I received a call from the elementary school that my daughter had collapsed and was urgently transported to the hospital. I rushed to the hospital and, soon after, my husband arrived, and we listened to what the doctor had to say. My daughter's condition was not life-threatening, and she could return home today if her condition improved. We were just relieved when the doctor told us something that turned our faces pale. While being transported, my daughter was muttering some words as if in delirium. After hearing from the doctor, I immediately called someone I had in mind and confronted her.
My daughter collapsed and was urgently transported to the hospital today. Can I hear your story?
My name is Samantha. I am a 34-year-old working in accounting at a cosmetics company. I love my job and am known as a career woman among my peers. My husband works in sales at the same company. I met my husband, Michael, about 10 years ago. We met at a camping trip organized by a friend of a colleague, and since we were the same age, we hit it off right away. We exchanged contact information that day and started going out together often. Attracted by Michael's kind nature and his thoughtfulness, I took the initiative to ask him out. It seems Michael also liked me, as he happily accepted. I was planning to ask you out myself. Sorry to make you confess first, Samantha. But I'm really happy. Let's look forward to our future together, he said with a shy smile, which I found very endearing. Thus, we started dating and soon decided to move in together. Our relationship progressed smoothly, and we decided to get married after about a year of dating. When it came to informing our parents about the marriage, we decided to first visit his parents' house. The in-laws' house is about a 30-minute train ride from our home. His father had passed away due to illness about 5 years ago, and currently, his mother lives alone. On the day of our visit, I was very nervous. Michael said with a smile, "You don't have to be so nervous," and helped ease my anxiety. When we arrived at the in-laws, his mother welcomed me with a smile. "Well, come in. It's good to see you. It's been a while, Michael. Nice to meet you. I'm Samantha. I hope you like this," I said, handing over an expensive gift I had bought at the department store, to which his mother was very pleased.
Well, aren't you thoughtful? Thank you. I'll make some tea, so both of you relax.
She was maintaining a comfortable distance, and time passed pleasantly. Regarding the marriage, his mother smiled and said, "Congratulations. I'm so happy Michael is marrying such a wonderful woman like you, Samantha. Your father-in-law in heaven would be happy too." I was relieved from the bottom of my heart that his mother was a kind person. As it was almost noon, his mother, looking at the clock, said to me,
"It's almost lunchtime. I'll make lunch, so you two eat before you go."
Although I appreciated her offer, I didn't want to bother her, so I was unsure how to respond. Then, Michael suggested, "Since it's a special occasion, let's all eat out. There's a new Japanese restaurant that opened near the station, remember? Mom mentioned it before. Let's go there."
"Oh, that's right. That Japanese restaurant is always packed, so it must be good. If that's settled, let's go right away."
Then the three of us went to the Japanese restaurant and had a fun lunch. That's how we smoothly finished our marriage greetings. The following week, we both went to my parents' house for marriage greetings, and they were very pleased. My parents really took a liking to Michael, noting his politeness. A few months later, we had our wedding and invited many from our company. Everyone celebrated us grandly. One day, during our peaceful married life, I received a call from my mother-in-law that she had hurt her arm when she fell at home. This is troubling. I can move my arm, but can't lift heavy things. Doing household chores has become a struggle. I never expected to get hurt like this. My mother-in-law sounded weak over the phone. That sounds terrible. I will come over to your house as much as I can on my days off, or when I can, I said, and then she hesitantly made a suggestion. Thank you. But, even if it's only a 30-minute train ride, it would be hard for you to come often, Samantha. I'd be happy if you could move closer. Walking distance would be ideal. If you guys were nearby, that alone would give me peace of mind. What do you think? Living alone, my mother-in-law must be feeling lonely because of her injured arm.
I see, understood. I'll discuss it with Michael and get back to you.
I immediately consulted Michael about this.
I see. Mom has been lonely since Dad passed, and I'm worried about her arm, so maybe we should move closer. Are you okay with that, Samantha? If you're not, just tell me. It would mean a longer commute since the company will be farther away.
Michael always makes sure to consider my opinion before making decisions. It's not a problem at all. I'm worried about your mom too, so let's move as close as possible to her place. Being nearby so we can respond quickly is better. The longer commute is within reason for me, I said, smiling. Thus, we rented an apartment just a 5-minute walk from my mother-in-law's house. She was very happy, and her arm injury gradually improved over time. Sometime later, it turned out I was pregnant.
Michael, I think I'm pregnant. Really?
Michael was surprised and very happy. My mother-in-law was also looking forward to the birth of her first grandchild, and we all were excited for the day we could meet the baby. Then, 3 days after the expected due date, I gave birth to a healthy baby girl. We named her Lucy, after consulting with Michael. I worked up until the birth, and then took maternity and parental leave. The first time parenting was tough, but I was always thankful to Michael because he actively helped with household chores and childcare. Lucy was showered with love and grew up healthy. I've always liked kids, but never knew my own could be this adorable, and I cherished my happiness. Then, when Lucy turned 2, we put her in daycare, and I returned to work. Time flew by, and Lucy quickly became a kind and gentle first grader. After she started elementary school, she was placed in a children's club after school, but on days when the club was closed, she was looked after by my mother-in-law. On one such day, I left Lucy with my mother-in-law as usual and went to work, and after work, I went to pick her up from my mother-in-law's house. Then, noticing Lucy's unusually red face, I asked my mother-in-law. "Excuse me, Mom. Lucy's face seems flushed. Did something happen? Does she have a fever?" Then she answered, "Oh, she was just moving around while playing video games until a moment ago. That's all, nothing to worry about. She doesn't have a fever."
Video games? Did you have a gaming console at your place? A friend gave it to me. She must have been too engrossed in it, that's why. Plus, it's a bit warm today.
While nodding at my mother-in-law's response, I asked Lucy just to make sure.
Lucy, you're not feeling ill, are you?
"Yeah, it's nothing." Lucy awkwardly nodded in response to my question.
Are you really okay?
When I pressed for confirmation, Lucy this time answered more clearly than before.
I'm okay. Mom, don't worry about anything.
However, I was still concerned about Lucy's condition, so I decided to discuss it with Michael. After Lucy went to bed, I immediately talked to Michael.
Today, when I went to pick up Lucy from your mom's house, her face was oddly red.
She looked like she was overheated.
When asked, your mom said it was because Lucy was too absorbed in a video game she got from a friend, and Lucy says she's fine, but
something seems off with Lucy. Do you really think it's just the game?
That happened? But Lucy seemed normal when she was at home.
Michael said, surprised, as he recalled Lucy's behavior since coming home.
That's the thing. She seemed fine once she got home. No redness, and she looked happy. But I can't shake this feeling. I wonder if I'm just worrying too much. Got it. I'll subtly ask Mom and Lucy about it too. Thanks for telling me.
Later, Michael did ask his mother and Lucy, but again, the mother blamed it on the video games, and Lucy kept saying it was nothing.
Lucy just keeps saying it's nothing. Maybe I am just worrying too much. Let's just watch how things go for a bit.
But even after that, every time Lucy was left at the in-laws, her face would be red. It was getting concerning, so I frequently asked Lucy what was wrong, but she kept saying, it's nothing. I'm fine. Once we got home, Lucy would draw and seem to enjoy herself, so she didn't appear to be ill. Which made it all the more puzzling why her face would turn red whenever she went to the in-laws. It wasn't like this before. I murmured as I began cooking dinner. Since she was little, Lucy loved helping me cook. So, I would occasionally ask her to help with simple and safe tasks like peeling eggs or using a peeler to peel carrots. Today, I was making meatloaf, so I decided to ask Lucy to help with the kneading. I chopped onions and sautéed them, then prepared a large bowl with onions, ground meat, breadcrumbs, eggs, and seasonings. I finished the preparations and called over Lucy, who was drawing.
Lucy, want to help me knead the meatloaf? Yeah. I'll do it. Lucy said with a smile and started kneading the meat mixture with her small hands. You're doing great. It's getting stickier, so just a little more. It's going to be delicious meatloaf because Lucy helped. If you get tired, let Mommy know.
When I praised her, Lucy smiled happily. Soon after, I noticed Lucy staring intently at the knife. What's up with staring at the knife? Oh, are you interested in cutting too? I could buy you a child-safe knife that's not too dangerous. I saw a cute one with cat designs at the department store the other day. Wanna try using it? I asked, but Lucy shook her head. No, thank you, she said softly and focused back on kneading. I thought I saw a shadow cross her face, but she soon returned to her usual cheerful self, so I thought I might have imagined it. As we finished making the meatloaf, Michael came home, and we all sat down for dinner, enjoying our usual happy mealtime. Lucy helped knead the meatloaf, I told Michael, and he looked impressed and said, "Oh.
Is that so? Great job helping Mom, Lucy. The meatloaf is really delicious."
Praised by Michael, Lucy blushed and smiled. For a moment, I forgot all about Lucy's troubles amidst this happy family time. But soon after, the worst thing happened. The next day, while I was at work, I received a call from Lucy's elementary school.
Is this Lucy's mother? Lucy has collapsed during home economics class and has been taken to the hospital. Please head to the hospital immediately.
The teacher's words drained all color from my face.
Is Lucy okay? We are not sure of her exact condition. She was barely conscious when transported. Understood, I'll head to the hospital right away.
I explained the situation to my boss and rushed to the hospital in a taxi. In the taxi, I was so worried about Lucy I felt numb.
Please let her be okay.
I prayed over and over. Soon, Michael and I arrived and were informed about Lucy's condition by the doctor. Thankfully, it wasn't life-threatening. She had fainted due to anemia. Lucy was currently asleep and hadn't woken up yet, but she was expected to wake up soon. If her condition stabilized, she could go home today. Michael and I were relieved to hear she wasn't in danger. But we were shocked by the doctor's next words.
Lucy was muttering something on the way here. Sorry, Grandma. Mom, please don't hate me. What?
Lucy had been mumbling sorry, Grandma. Mom, please don't hate me while semi-conscious during the transport. My face turned pale, and my body started shaking. There must be something between my mother-in-law and Lucy. Why would Lucy apologize to her grandmother, and why does she think I would hate her? Looking at Michael, he too was confused and had gone pale. After the doctor left, I told Michael.
Lucy must have had some issues with your mom, right?
Michael nodded in agreement to my words. Yeah, I think so. For Lucy to say something like that, something must have happened.
That's what I think. I'll call your mom.
Michael and I stepped outside the hospital to avoid disturbing others and made the call.
Hello?
My mother-in-law answered immediately.
Hello, Mom? This is Samantha.
Oh, Samantha.
What's the matter? You should be at work, shouldn't you?
Confused, she asked, but I immediately threw my question at her. Lucy has collapsed. Do you have any idea why?
What? Lucy collapsed? What happened?
My mother-in-law sounded very shocked and raised her voice in surprise. However, after hearing my next words, she changed her attitude completely.
Lucy collapsed during her home economics class. Apparently, she was muttering, "Sorry, Grandma. Mom, please don't hate me," while being transported. She wouldn't say such things under normal circumstances. Mom, did you do something to Lucy? Ha, such a weak child.
She spat out disdainfully. I had never heard such a tone from her before and was shocked, asking again.
What? Mom, what did you just say? I said she's a weak child. I was just trying to make her a proper lady by teaching her how to cook.
She suddenly screamed hysterically.
Cooking!
It was the first time I heard that she had been teaching Lucy to cook.
Yes. I was just teaching her cooking. But Lucy is hopeless. She's still afraid to even touch a knife. I always have to be strict with her. It's really your fault, Samantha, for not teaching Lucy how to cook properly. Wait a minute. Lucy is only 7 years old. Cooking is something where she might help with simple tasks, but it's too early to teach her seriously. Are you making Lucy use a knife at your house? Surely, it's a child's knife, right?
I asked, confused yet pressing for answers.
What are you babbling about being so soft? Child's knives are like toys. She's been using a regular adult knife. She can't handle it at all, so I end up scolding her every time, and it's been hard on me too. You're spoiling Lucy too much, Samantha. That's why she's turned into such a weak child. Aren't you failing as a mother?
My head was boiling with anger as she berated me. But before I could retort, Michael shouted at her.
Mom! What are you thinking? We never asked you to teach Lucy to cook. And what's this about scolding her all the time? Michael! Were you there too? I thought it was just Samantha. If I knew Michael was there, I would have started differently.
My mother-in-law was surprised to know Michael was beside me.
What's wrong with me being here? What if Lucy's collapse is because of the stress from you? Mom, explain yourself.
Michael was furious, pressing our mother-in-law for answers.
No, I mean, it was just a bit of stress. Yes, I was a bit strict, but only slightly. I just wanted her to grow into a fine woman. That's all I wanted. So, I didn't do anything wrong. Please, Michael, don't be so angry.
My mother-in-law rambled with excuses, but Michael coldly cut her off. Enough. I can't trust what you say anymore. We will ask Lucy directly when she wakes up. Don't think this is over. Goodbye. He said and hung up abruptly. The weekend came, and Michael and I headed to a certain location. Lucy was with my parents at our home. It took us only 5 minutes to reach our destination as it was just a short walk away.
Is she home, I wonder? Mom's not a morning person. It's only 9 a.m., she's definitely at home.
Yes, the place we had arrived at was Michael's childhood home. We rang the doorbell of the in-laws' house, and after a while, she appeared in her pajamas.
What do you two want, showing up unannounced like this?
Her eyes widened as she saw us. Mom, we're coming in, Michael said as he entered the house, and I followed him.
Wait, what are you doing here all of a sudden?
Despite my mother-in-law's fluster, I followed Michael's lead without hesitation. We headed straight for the kitchen. It was my first time entering her kitchen, and the scene was anything but tidy. Dishes were piled up, and utensils like ladles and spatulas were scattered around. It seemed like the only seasonings available were salt, sugar, and soy sauce. Shocked, Michael shared a surprising fact with me. Mom has always been bad at cooking. She seems completely unaware of it, though. I was at a loss for words when my mother-in-law started shouting, "Don't just walk into the kitchen like that." Ignoring her, Michael continued. Mom doesn't believe in recipes and does everything her way, which basically makes everything taste bad. She thinks everything can be managed with just salt, sugar, and soy sauce. She claims to taste her cooking, but she must have no taste at all. Yet, she's convinced she's a great cook, which is terrifying. Dad and I have complained numerous times, but she never listens. I had never eaten her cooking, so this was all news to me. When we had meals at the in-laws, it was always either delivery or eating out. But thinking back, I realized Michael always managed to avoid eating his mother's cooking. And now to think, despite being such a poor cook, she was forcibly teaching Lucy to cook. My anger began to rise. Michael! Stop saying whatever you want! She yelled, but Michael continued to ignore her. This kitchen is still as dirty as ever. He muttered bitterly and opened the fridge. It was barely filled with proper ingredients, but there were several fresh cucumbers. The day Lucy collapsed. After the call with my mother-in-law, Lucy soon woke up and we talked. At first, Lucy was hesitant, but Michael and I earnestly conveyed our feelings to her. Mommy and Daddy love you no matter what. We love you more than anything in the world, I said, looking directly into Lucy's eyes. Really? Lucy's eyes flickered with uncertainty, to which Michael kindly spoke. That's right. Lucy, you are our treasure. Finally, Lucy seemed to relax and began to talk hesitantly. Grandma made me hold a knife and forced me to practice cutting cucumbers quickly. It turned out my mother-in-law had forced Lucy to use an adult knife to practice cutting a whole cucumber within 20 seconds. Lucy had never held anything sharper than a peeler before, so she was scared and didn't want to do it, but my mother-in-law yelled and forced the knife into her hand. Forced you to do that? I asked in shock, and Lucy nodded. Yeah, I was really scared of Grandma. I felt like I had no choice. Moreover, my mother-in-law would scold Lucy harshly for any slight mistake, causing Lucy to be extremely tense every time she cut cucumbers. That's why her face was always red when she returned from the in-laws. It seemed the collapse during the home economics class was indeed caused by my mother-in-law. The memory of being scolded by her grandmother and the sensation of holding a knife during the class had triggered a strong fear in Lucy, leading to her fainting due to anemia. I always hated cooking with Grandma because it was so scary, but I love cooking with Mommy. You always praise me. And Daddy always says the food Mommy and I make is delicious, which makes me really happy. Thank you for telling us, Lucy. Can you tell me why you didn't talk to Mommy and Daddy before? I gently asked, curious about why Lucy hadn't shared with us until now. That's because Grandma said that girls who are bad at cooking are disliked by their moms. I was afraid if I told you, you'd think I'm bad at cooking and start hating me. Hearing Lucy's words filled me with intense anger and resentment towards my mother-in-law. Michael felt the same. Michael and I reassured Lucy gently once again. That will never happen. Even if Lucy is not good at cooking, we still love you just the same. Mom and Dad will never hate Lucy, so don't worry, I told her, and Lucy smiled with relief. Then, Lucy was able to return home that day. After putting Lucy to bed, I told Michael, I want to see your mother's kitchen. I want to know the kind of place where Lucy was suffering. Okay. We'll go this weekend. Michael agreed, and we quickly explained the situation to my parents, who agreed to come over. Standing in front of the desolate kitchen, I felt like collapsing with anger, thinking about Lucy suffering in such a place. Michael told his mother in a stern voice. Mom! You're not in a position to teach Lucy cooking when you're bad at it yourself. What you did to Lucy is unforgivable. Forcing a 7-year-old child to hold an adult knife
really makes me question your sanity. What do you mean? I'm not bad at cooking. What's wrong with teaching my granddaughter to cook? I just thought it was better to get her used to knives early. If she had just listened to me from the beginning, I wouldn't have had to force her. Everything I did was for Lucy's sake. Why am I being blamed so much?
There was no sign of remorse from her, who showed an attitude as if she was justified.
Mother, you kept telling Lucy that children who can't cook get scolded by their mothers, trying to control her feelings, right? Because of that, Lucy couldn't talk to us and was suffering.
I lashed out at her with my anger, but she started laughing mockingly.
What are you talking about? If you had properly taught Lucy to cook, none of this would have happened. Lucy has turned into such a spoiled child because of you. Don't joke with us. We are cutting ties with you. We will move away to get away from you. Your arm has been healed for a while now. We will not contact you anymore, and we will never see each other again.
At Michael's words, she turned pale and started to panic.
Wait a minute. Cutting ties, that's too extreme. There's no need to be so angry over this. Don't say you're moving. Don't leave me alone. I am your only mother, aren't I? Please, stay by my side.
She clung to Michael, but of course, Michael ignored her. Then she turned to me.
Please, Samantha. I apologize. I was wrong. I won't force Lucy anymore. Don't leave me alone. You put Lucy through such a frightening experience, I can never forgive you. Since you can so confidently declare someone else a bad mother, you must be a wonderful mother yourself, so you'll be fine alone.
I said with a smile and left the in-laws' house with Michael. Leaving the in-laws' house, we found Lucy had come with my parents.
Lucy, you were here?
Yeah, I wanted to say something to Grandma, Lucy told us, and from the in-laws' house, we heard, "Wait a minute, both of you," as my mother-in-law came out. Seeing Lucy and my parents, she muttered uncomfortably.
Lucy, and Samantha's dad and mom too.
Lucy firmly told her grandmother.
I have more fun cooking with mom, so I won't learn from grandma anymore. I don't want to see grandma ever again.
Leaving a stunned mother-in-law behind, we all returned home together. After that, we found a perfect place to move that was a good distance from the in-laws' house. By coincidence, it was closer to my parents' house, so we started having meals together with them once a month. I was worried that Lucy might come to dislike cooking because of my mother-in-law, but when Lucy and I cooked together, she always smiled joyfully. When I bought Lucy a cute child-safe knife with cat patterns, she was delighted and started actively practicing cutting vegetables. Soon, she became quite good at using the knife.
Lucy, you're getting better and better. That's amazing. I'm happy because Mom praises me. I want to get even better at cutting, Lucy said, showing me a big smile.
As for my mother-in-law's recent state, according to what Michael's relatives told us, things seemed to be going badly. She was already prone to eating out a lot and was overweight. After cutting ties with us, her eating habits worsened and she gained more weight. Eventually, she injured her foot because of the weight. She tried to call us, but since we had blocked her, of course, she couldn't reach us, so she had to rely on relatives. However, the relatives have never been close to her. Due to her overconfident and imposing attitude and her bad cooking skills, the relatives treated her like a nuisance. But they couldn't just ignore her after she injured her foot, so reluctantly they let her stay in a spare room. But, according to them, she is living stress-filled days. The relatives, in exchange for providing a room, make her do household chores despite her foot injury and complain about her cooking. Thus, she spends her days like in hell. Michael and I vowed to never let Lucy suffer like that again. We're not just focusing on work but are also making sure to spend quality time with Lucy, creating a home where everything can be discussed. We want to continue supporting each other as a family of 3, building a loving home environment.